Hey y'all, I just wanted to share a little insight. I've had a lot of people ask me questions about writing, and not something I really have been asked a lot about, but I have a few surprises up my sleeve, and so I thought I would go ahead and share a few insights. One of the things that I do when I'm writing, I have a terrible memory, and so I have to write things down, facts about people, even what their hair color or eye color. I can't tell you how many times I've written something that she had green eyes to start with, and halfway through the book, I was like, he's looking into her blue eyes, and so I find it later, or I have an ARC reader find it later, and I'll have to fix it. So I'm trying to learn to be a little bit more organized in all those tiny little facts that really matter. Anyway, I've always done this, and I'm not going to show you the title of this one because it's a secret, but I usually have a small notebook. It's just, I don't know what that is, a half inch or something notebook. And then all the notes that I take and write down, on this one I'm doing, I actually had AI do some research for me in the real city that is going to be, the setting is going to be at. So all those things I print out and then I keep here so I can refer back to it. There's a time difference in this particular novel that I'm writing, and so I had AI print out for me the difference in the times and the weather, like from where the one person is to where the other person is. So I could kind of synchronize those and keep them straight. But usually I have just a small notebook for a standalone. Well, when I do a series though, I'm still working on The Last Safehouse. This is the Last Safehouse series. This is actually the cover I put in it from the original book. I haven't done a separate one for this series, but I started out just as one book, and you can see how thick this is because it's going to end up being 5 books, I think. Anyway, but I have these dividers in it, and so I started out with just The Last Safehouse, and so these notes were all the notes that I took and wrote down and jotted down when I was writing The Last Safehouse. And I don't know, a tenth of the way into The Last Safehouse, I decided that this really needed to be a series. And so once I was done with The Last Safehouse, I kind of left it in the same notebook, and then I wrote The Last Lie. So these notes here are all from The Last Lie. Same thing, I have some things I've had AI research for me. I always kind of verbally feed to AI my character sheets, but I also have character sheets that I do myself. I'm trying to find one that I do myself. Here we go. There's one. This is on John Mark, who's a character in The Last Lie. So I do my character sheet. This is how I get to know the character. It's kind of like I just sit down with them and I'm like, what's your backstory? What do you look like? What about your parents? Are you married? Children? What drives you? What are your good qualities? What are your negative qualities? What are your redeeming qualities? So I get to know this character and I write all that down. So once I have all that kind of in my head, then I go to AI because I have terrible handwriting, and I say, hey, this is this person, and this one is John Mark Lavoie, and I would like you to do a profile sheet for him, and I tell them how to do that. So this part right here has all the notes from when I wrote The Last Lie. Yes, I said wrote because I have finished The Last Lie, which is book 2 in the Last Safehouse series. I've still not edited it or done my rewrites, and I have quite a few rewrites, and I'll talk about that in a second. But anyway, so this is my next book in the series. I'm not going to tell you the title of it, but I'm already brainstorming and doing character sheets and doing notes and preparing to write the third book in the Last Safehouse series. So, I forgot what I said I would tell you about in a minute. Anyway, so the book started growing. So when I started doing the notes for the third book, I thought I needed to go ahead and get a big notebook. And so I ordered some extra notebooks, and I've got this one prepared. It's going to be the Last Safehouse series notebook, and all 5 of my books, the notes will be all right in here. I also keep some publishing notes in there, the font I use and stuff like that. So when I go to write the next book, I'll have that information and not have to second guess myself or go back and look, and ISBN numbers and stuff like that. I like to try to keep everything organized. I don't always keep it organized, but I do try. What was it I was going to say to you a minute ago? I said I'll get back to that. I can't remember. I guess if I think of it, I'll do another video. But that's how I kind of organize it as I'm writing. And of course I have 90% of this also in digital, the things I've handwritten, the little notes that I take. That's what I was going to tell you. The reason I have so many rewrites to do on the second book, and for the edits for the Last Lie that's coming out. I haven't even actually advertised when it's coming out yet, but I will be doing that probably later this week or next week. But if you're part of my Quill Coterie, which is my email, then you already know, because I've sent those emails out. My inside reader group knows when the Last Lie is coming out, and they will also be the first to get a peek at the actual book, because I'm doing book teasers now. But anyway, after I finished with the Last Lie, I knew that there were things I had probably forgotten about, because like I said, my memory's terrible. And so I hadn't read The Last Safehouse in a while, a couple of months. So I thought I'm just going to put The Last Lie aside, and I grabbed The Last Safehouse and took it to Florida with me. I told y'all, or had some videos of my fiance took me to Florida to kind of celebrate finishing The Last Lie, the rough draft. And so I took my Kindle with me and reread The Last Safehouse. And as I was writing, anything that I thought would be pertinent to the next story, The Last Lie, I wrote that down. Anything that I thought, well, just a perfect little example, when Oliver in The Last Safehouse, when he gets frustrated or upset, he always, I know a lot of men do this, so that's why I picked up on it, who just will like kind of rub his face, and I'd forgotten that, and so I jotted things like that down so that when you see Oliver and Krista in The Last Lie, and you will see them and get to hear them interact and find out a huge surprise for them as well in The Last Lie. Anyway, when you see them in The Last Safehouse, in The Last Lie, you will remember from having read The Last Safehouse, oh yeah, Oliver did that. Oh yeah, that was a little pet name. Oh, that's right, this happened or that happened. So I can kind of refresh the reader's memory, who's probably been several months since they've read The Last Safehouse, of what these characters were like, and make you fall in love with them all over again. That being said, The Last Lie is completely different from The Last Safehouse. I'm not gonna do spoiler alerts for either book, but in The Last Safehouse, if you haven't read it, a young girl, Krista, her parents are on her 18th birthday, and come to find out the people that murdered her parents are now after her for a microchip that she didn't even know existed, because she didn't know prior to their death that her parents were even government assassins. And so she's on the run for her life. She doesn't know who to trust. She's been extremely sheltered her entire life. And so it's a lot of fast-paced, going from place to place, her running for her life, and Oliver shows up trying to help her, but she doesn't know who Oliver is. She didn't know him from Adam's house cat, as they say. And so she's scared to trust anyone, obviously, because she's just seen her parents off. And so The Last Safehouse is a lot of fast-paced and running. Well, The Last Lie is a lot of fast-paced too, but in a different way. You get to know a lot of the people in The Last Safehouse that are in this government organization that her parents were a part of, and Oliver is a part of. And so you get to know them. And this next book, The Last Lie, actually goes with a different person. If you just heard me say that and you've read The Last Safehouse, then you know which person that is. But anyway, so we get to hear his story, how he's going to evolve, if he's going to evolve. Something really crazy happens to him, and how he handles it and what happens to them. But the whole story's different environment, different setting, different people, except for you will get to see a few of the other characters that were in The Last Safehouse. They'll be popping in and out. But other than that, it's a whole different ball game, whole different setting, everything. The only thing that's the same is the genre. It's still a romantic thriller, and it's still a romantic suspense, and it's still exciting and different, but in a whole different way. Same thing with the next book. I almost said the name of it. With the next book, it's a whole other story. So it's going to be a series, y'all, but it's going to be different enough that I don't think anybody's going to get bored with this one. Please comment and let me know if you've read The Last Safehouse and what you thought of it, and what you think The Last Lie is going to be about. Bye.